What's up, guys? I'm BTC. Season 12 is ending, a new competitive mode is arriving, and yet more changes to Reaper. First up, Season 12 of the competitive ladder is ending this Sunday, October 28th at 5 p.m. Pacific. And then Season 13 will begin on October 31st at 5 p.m. Pacific. But in the meantime, we're also going to have a new competitive mode. This is going to be in the arcade, similar to the Capture the Flag and the Lucio Ball and all that sort of stuff. So there is going to be competitive team deathmatch. During the off-season, you can keep your competitive edge sharp by queuing up for the competitive team deathmatch. This fast-paced, it's supposed to be fast-paced, 4v4 format is a race to eliminate the enemy 30 times to secure victory. So just like all the other competitive game modes, there's a custom spray for simply competing, there's a special one for getting into the top 500, and you also get competitive points towards those golden weapons. So even if you're not really interested in doing the competitive team deathmatch, I would recommend doing at least your placement matches so that you can get some of those competitive points when the season for this ends. There was also a very large 1.8 gigabyte patch on the PTR. Here is the complete set of patch notes, or patch note singular, I should say. Fixed a bug that caused the game to crash. Now, as important as that bug is to fix, I can't help but think that doesn't encompass the entire 1.8 gigabyte patch. It's most likely that they added a lot of background changes, optimizations, that sort of thing. They don't need to spell out every single detail, but it would be nice if they at least included a little bit of information in their patch notes so that we're not trying to look for stuff. Because there was something else that was changed that they didn't include in the patch notes, and that is the attack pattern for Reaper. Jeff Kaplan, however, did make a comment in a different section of the forums, and he said, "We've changed the spread pattern and adjusted the distribution of the bullets. This will go to PTR with the next update." That's the one that just got added. All the changes to Reaper were done with the intention of making him more reliable. None were intended as nerfs. I did quite a bit of testing. Let me show you what I found. The one on the left is the live version of the game. You can see a lot of the shots kind of fill in the entire circle. The one in the middle is the older version on the PTR. This looks like the target thing. There are the dead zones in between the rings. And then the one on the right is the new version of the PTR. So it's kind of a mix of the live and the older PTR. It doesn't quite eliminate the dead zones, but it does put some of the attacks in there. Let me show you a better close-up view of this. This is the live version of the game. You can see that the hits are pretty evenly distributed throughout the whole thing. The old version of the PTR, you had those two very noticeable rings with the dead zones in between. It looked like the hits were being randomized and moved inward for the outer ring, and then for the inner ring, it looked like they were being moved both in and out. And there was very little in the actual center of where you're trying to aim at. And then for the new version of the PTR, you can see that it looks like all of the hits from the outer ring are being moved inward, and then the inner ring is also being moved inward. So there's two different concentrations on this new version of the PTR. You have the center, and you have the outer ring. And here's another comparison here. So old PTR, new PTR. The dead zone isn't completely gone. It's still there a little bit, but it's a lot better than it was before. Now let me show you the live version versus the new PTR. So this is what the hits look like for the live version. This is the new PTR. So you can see the difference on the live version is that it's again spread out throughout the whole thing. On the new version of the PTR, the hits seem to be concentrated in two locations, that center and the outer ring. And here you have both of them overlapped. So what does this mean? Is it a buff? Is it a nerf? I went into the training room and tested how many hits it would take to destroy the bots. I also went into custom games and checked on actual characters. The best that I can figure out is that if the target is less than 6 meters away, this is a slight buff. If the target is more than 6 meters away, it is a slight nerf. And of course, it's a perfectly valid argument to say that, well, Reaper's supposed to be close to the target anyways. Yes. The problem is that he has a lot of difficulty actually getting in close enough to the enemy. because the teleport is extremely loud, it's really bright, and you can't actually teleport close to anyone because they'll just destroy you before you even have control of your character again. So really, Reaper only has two choices. Either you waste your Wraith form and then have nothing to escape with, or you just run in normal and hope you don't get destroyed before you get close enough to do good damage. The best solution would be to either improve the teleport or completely replace it. Reaper is a frontline attacker, and he's the only character in the game with a completely 100% out-of-combat ability. It just doesn't make any sense. Plus, when he is in combat, he really doesn't have any buttons to press. The only thing you can do is left-click and then Wraith form when you need to escape. That's pretty much it. So that's where everything stands on the Reaper changes. Now, as far as the patch being 1.8 gigabytes, I know some people are going to say, hey, does that mean that the next hero was put on the PTR? Maybe parts of it was, sure. But it's more likely that it was just background stuff and that they're going to actually patch the new hero in next week when the character gets fully announced at BlizzCon. And speaking of Hero 29, my full prediction video should be out in the next few days. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller because it's never your fault.